while millions of Texans have been suffering without power or safe drinking water in some cases in the middle of this brutal winter storm, Texas Governor Ted Cruz decided that it would be a great time to lay on a beach in Cancun, in Mexico. Apparently, Republicans want to blame Mexicans for stealing our politicians as well. And so this story in the beginning was not confirmed. There were suspicions that Ted Cruz was leaving the country to go on a nice little vacay while his own constituents were suffering. And then all of a sudden, more and more evidence started coming in, including this photo of him in a first-class lounge doing what politicians do best: lounge, relax, go on recess, take a load off. But it still wasn't confirmed that this was the right picture. I mean, is it confirmed that it's a current picture? What if it's a picture from a previous vacation he went on? And then David Schuster did confirm it, writing, "Just confirmed Senator Ted Cruz and his family flew to Cancun tonight for a few days at a resort they visited before. Cruz seems to believe there isn't much for him to do in Texas for the millions of fellow Texans who remain without electricity or water and are literally freezing." It's so good. And by the way, there was some great investigative reporting here. Like, for instance, in an effort to also confirm the story, Jake Sherman, who always has the hot goss, tweeted this. And I didn't know that this stuff was public. It's actually pretty terrifying, probably shouldn't be public, but nonetheless, here's the upgrade list for the afternoon's flight from Cancun to Houston. Looks like Ted Cruz is on his way back. He just narrowly missing the upgrade list. That's assuming that Crew R is him, and I do. And guess what? It was Ted Cruz, and he included the listing that shows all the people that were on the flight, and you can see Ted Cruz's name on there. And Cenk, his explanation is just so embarrassing. But before we get to that, I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah, so first of all, explanation is awesome. Second of all, there's an awesome update that's coming up. You're gonna love the update. But let's all note for the record that Anna's fascination with the phrase hot goss is also awesome. And let's also note that David Schuster is on Rebel headquarters. You can see so many of his videos on TYT's channel, RHQ, so check that out. And before we get to his pathetic explanation, I just like to chant, "Build a wall, build a wall." What happened? Oh no, Anna, I figured out what happened with Mexico. As soon as he got down to Cancun, Mexico sent some of its worst back to us. They're sending criminals. They're sending politicians, they're sending grease balls. Okay, we got to build a wall.
No, unfortunately, we tend to send our worst to Mexico, because I'm sure no one wants Ted Cruz vacationing in their resort, but nonetheless, he was there. But he returned home quickly as soon as there was evidence and confirmation that he had left town to go vacation while his constituents were suffering. More on that in just a minute. But he did provide what is possibly the worst excuse of all time. Let's take a listen to that.
Texas is going through horrific storms, and millions of Texans have lost power and lost heat and have been hurt. And our family was among them. We had no heat and no power. Yesterday, my daughters asked if they could take a trip with some friends, and Heidi and I agreed, so I flew down with them last night, dropped them off here, and now I'm headed back to Texas and back to continuing to work to try to get the power on. What's happening in Texas is unacceptable, and a lot of Texans are hurting.
No, there's no family member that he's unwilling to throw under the bus for his own political career. He'll do it he'll throw his wife under the bus. We all know about that. He'll, certainly support and phone bank for someone who called his wife ugly. And then now he's using his own children as a shield, as an excuse for why he did the most selfish thing he can possibly do as a lawmaker with his constituents suffering right now as we speak. And there is an update to that in just a minute, but remember, he just made it appear as though he didn't really go on a vacation. That like he's been here and that he's just trying to be a good dad. That is not the case at all. I have evidence of that. But before we get to it, Cenk, go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I love this. I mean, I was just gonna go to Kroger's, drop off the kids for like 5 minutes and then come back. Who flies to Cancun to drop off the kids and wife and come back? That's not a thing that anybody does. He's not an Uber driver. He went on vacation, of course. But guys, the most important part of this is that it was not pre-planned. Cruz said it himself. Oh, they had a week off, and they put out a statement about this earlier too. His daughters had a week off because of the storm, so they decided to go down to Cancun because of that week off. That means Cruz it wasn't like, oh, look, we planned this like 4 months ago, and I didn't want to disappoint my family. It was like, oh, everybody's suffering. Win, perfect opportunity to go to Cancun. They used the storm as an opportunity to run away to Mexico. And Cruz was 1,000,000,000% part of that. I mean, look at this shaggy defense, by the way. Wasn't me. Well, so who was it, Ted? My daughters made me do it. Okay. Yeah. Oh my God. But we all know how pathetic Ted Cruz is, and we know what kind of a coward he is. And the one thing he doesn't get, and why people don't like the Republican voters, who are generally hateful people, et cetera, and they can be tricked into almost anything, but they don't like Cruz nearly as much as they like Trump. Why? Because he doesn't have Trump's swagger. When he's caught, Cruz has a couple of tells. He moves his head a lot. So he's like, I mean, we were gonna go to Cancun, and I just had to drop him off, or I'm just gonna get a ham sandwich and come back, right? And he does, and he looks so defensive, and he looks guilty because he is. Trump would have come back and be like, oh yeah, so what? I was thinking of buying Cancun. And you know what? The best place to go? Why would I want to be cold? Suckers and losers are cold. I went to somewhere hot, okay? And the Republicans who were freezing to death in Texas would have been like, yeah, Trump's so cool, man. What?
So Jordan Yule just tweeted, the New York Times has provided group has been provided with group texts from Ted Cruz's wife that, coupled with reports of a last-minute itinerary change, his little Cancun jaunt was planned through Sunday, and so a Wednesday afternoon departure. So Miss Cruz promptly shared details for a Wednesday afternoon departure, a Sunday return trip, and a luxurious stay at the oceanfront Ritz-Carlton in the meantime. It's just they don't care about you guys. They like Texans. Ted Cruz doesn't care about you, but don't feel so bad about it. No one cares about you. Like no one in politics, for the most part, with a few exceptions, cares about you, cares about working people, cares about any of the struggles you're experiencing right now. Like none of this should be shocking. Like it's a fun story, honestly, right? Like everyone's so animated and excited about it, but it's, for me, it's Tuesday. It's another politician basically demonstrating through his actions how little he cares about the people he's supposedly representing.
Yeah. So look, it's about the lies and it's about the indifference more than it is about Ted Cruz needing to take political action. So we know that Ted Cruz is a federal official and the state officials are supposed to be working on this here. But you know what happens when you have a representative, including your senators? People call you when they're hurt and they need help. And your office is supposed to work around the clock to help them. And so that's why this looks incredibly callous. Look, he's not the only politician to have done this. And Anna's right. I mean, they're all slime. You remember the famous story, Mark Sanford, the former governor of South Carolina. He had gone to visit his lover in Argentina, and he was just missing. And people were like, his staffers were like, we don't know where he is. And then a day later, they put out a statement saying, oh, he just hiking the Appalachian Trail, and that's why we can't reach him. And I remember calling that out on TYT, going, that's a lie. That's the most obvious lie I've ever heard. And other reporters are outraged. They're like, how could you say that? If they say he's on the Appalachian Trail, I'm like, he ain't on the Appalachian Trail. Of course they're lying. Of course they're lying, right? So in this case, oh, my daughters made me do it and I was an Uber driver. I was just dropping them off at Kroger's. No, you were planning to stay through Sunday because you saw a disaster and you didn't think I need to help people, and you never wanted to help them anyway. You just go, hey, I already helped people. I helped the industry that pays me off deregulate and save money, and then you got killed for it. Mission accomplished. I'm off to the Ritz-Carlton. That's who Ted Cruz is.
Dude, your wife was there. Your excuse makes no sense. Your wife was there. Your wife could have taken care of the kids if that's your excuse. yeah, there's pictures of him and his wife at the airport with their luggage. So it's just such a ridiculous excuse. Just when people tell you who they are, believe them. Ted Cruz, not into you, does not care about you, not interested in representing you. He's in it for himself. Please wake up and stop voting for these clowns.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.